2 people are dead, 2 others recovering from gunshot wounds after a standoff with police ended early this morning. It unfolded at the corner of Margaret Street near 13 Mile in Masonic. The standoff started around 10 p.m. on the 4th of July when a man allegedly fired shots into his neighbor's home, hitting a young girl and a woman. Then the shooter took cover in his home and the standoff with police began. After nearly 30 hours, police got into the home and found the man and a woman dead inside. 7 Action News reporter Jennifer Ann Wilson spoke with family members of both victims and the suspect.
I spoke with a close relative of the suspect off camera who does not want to be identified. As you might imagine, she is horrified, stunned, shocked. She says she actually received a phone call when this all began the night of July 4th. And in that phone call, the suspect told her his home was surrounded by police and he was calling her to say goodbye. The Macomb County SWAT team brought a nearly 30-hour standoff to an end around 2:30 on Saturday morning by entering the home on St. Margaret Street where a gunman had barricaded himself since 10 p.m. on July the 4th. 2 people were found dead inside. The suspect, a 58-year-old man with apparent self-inflicted gunshot wounds, and a woman in her 60s, an apparent murder victim. This after many attempts to negotiate a surrender after fire hoses flooded the basement. Tear gas was deployed. Sources say the suspect had a gas mask. Robots with cameras were used to enter the home, but police say the suspect shot at robots just like he'd shot at police and neighbors multiple times using multiple guns. An armored vehicle rammed into the front of the home to give officers a better view, but the 58-year-old suspect did not surrender, and his neighbors were either forced to stay in their homes or not allowed to be in their home, like Janita Jackson, who did not want her face shown.
What have these past 30-plus hours been like?
Horrible, no sleep. I haven't eaten at all. I have no appetite. I'm just tired. I'm mentally drained at this point.
Her house was the initial target of the gunman's wrath.
My house was shot at. They're looking for bullets.
Today, her niece and her mother are both recovering from gunshot wounds.
And that's incredibly traumatizing.
Yes, it is. Very worst experience of my life.
She says she called 911 when the man threatened her family verbally.
They held me on the phone just questioning me about, do you see a gun? It's just a threat. I feel like if they would have came when I called, some of this could have been avoided.
People I've spoken to who live on this street say it has been a horrible couple of days, and they just wonder if somehow, some way, this tragedy could have been prevented. In St. Clair Shores, Jennifer Ann Wilson, 7 Action News.
Our team coverage continues now with 7 Action News reporter Jen Shantz. And Jen, you're live near where the standoff ended. Neighbors who were left on lockdown during that barricaded situation obviously relieved it's finally over because it means they're allowed back in their own homes.
Brian, that's right. Several neighbors told Action News they were not allowed inside their homes during this standoff, which, as Jennifer Ann mentioned, lasted almost 32 hours. Some neighbors were not allowed access into their homes, while others had to stay inside as police attempted to negotiate with this gunman. And take a look behind me. You can see that home. This is the aftermath of that 32-hour-long standoff here.
Nobody on the street went to work yesterday, all of us. None of us could go to work. We couldn't leave the streets.
Christine Jackson was one of several people stuck inside their homes for more than a day as St. Clair Shores police attempted to negotiate with an armed man inside this home on St. Margaret off 13 Mile. Witnesses tell Action News the man was threatening people in the neighborhood, and when police arrived, officers said he fired shots at them. Police determined he was using multiple guns.
All I could hear was pop, 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 pop. And then I saw from the time they brought the tank, that armored car, and broke through the window.
The barricaded gunman shot 2 people, according to officers, including a 12-year-old girl and a 62-year-old woman. Both were treated and are expected to be okay. SWAT officers used robots with cameras and tear gas to try to get the man out of the home. They even tried flooding the home with water.
I couldn't believe the guy wasn't coming out.
Then early Saturday morning, when officers finally got inside the home, they found a 58-year-old man dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot. There was also a woman inside, age 60, who appears to be a murder victim. Jackson, who says the man lived in the home with his girlfriend, says she never had any problems with her neighbors.
It's just sad.
Again, witnesses telling us that during the course of these shots fired by that neighbor, several children were out and about because, again, it was the 4th of July. It was that evening. Police are still investigating this, and they told us via a press release today that they anticipate investigating this for quite some time. Still, of course, a lot of unanswered questions here. We will stay on top of this story and bring you the very latest as we know it.